Hey, how are we doing, guys? Gray here, and today we are going to be reviewing our week 1 battle of the PPL, where we went up against Jack, aka the Dom Fanatic, and his Norwich Skitty. It sure was a Jack off of all time, and almost an hour long as well, so, you know, you can't write us off for endurance. Let's go ahead and review this. Make sure to go check out Jack's side of this, and obviously it goes without saying this is going to be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the battle, make sure to go check out our previous video. Check out Jack's side, show him some love. He is a great guy, former founder, the founder of the league, and former commissioner who passed it on to me when he retired, and that went really well for him because he got dragged back against his will to play again. It was very much, again, it was with his will. He chose to come back. I don't know why, he chose to come back. But let's get into this. I will try and not talk over myself too much, but I'm probably going to anyway, because there's a lot to talk about. This was a really poorly played game for me, and honestly a good lesson on positioning and momentum and progress. One of those buzzwords that people love to say at the moment. Always trying to find progression in a turn that you're going for. It is important, but this is a very bad battle for it from me. I was not happy with this game. I was very frustrated, and not to discredit Jack, because he played this one exactly how he should and how and the best way he could to win this game. So yeah, I lead off with Mousehold because Mousehold was my lead in most mocks. I did basically face the same 6 as well in essentially every mock. I think maybe there's a Vileplume in one of them, but outside of that I faced this 6, and so I kind of had a good game plan. I had a good build against this 6. I just piloted it like a toddler in a spaceship. Like, genuinely, it was fucking atrocious. Yeah, Mousehold was my lead. Should always be my lead. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But what is a bad thing is allowing it to get knocked off, which is exactly what happens on his first turn. Because I do need this citrus berry with the cheek pouch to be able to take on Miss Magius a bit better, or at least be able to have some kind of longevity in this battle. And if I lose Mousehold, it puts me in a really bad spot. I'm talking over myself, which probably sounds horrible. I might try and like mute it and unmute it, but yeah. So Mousehold lead, absolutely fine. If he goes for rocks here, is what I was thinking, like maybe he's led this to just get rocks off, or lead rocks, whatever. Just so I go for the Super Fang, and Super Fang isn't a bad play, it's just not the right play, because it doesn't net me much. Because at the end of the day, if he goes for Stealth Rock, Great Tusk is a good switch. If he goes for Knockoff, Great Tusk is a good switch. If he goes for Gigaton Hammer, Great Tusk is a great switch. If he goes for T-Wave, it's an even better switch. So why the fuck do I not go into Great Tusk here, right? That's like, you got to question it. And even if he goes for a play rough, it's base 75 attack against a physically defensive Great Tusk, it does like 15 to 20%, I'm pretty sure, if that. So it's not a concern. It's not a concern. But instead, I go for the Super Fang, and you know, it's an okay play. It's going to bring Tinkerton down if he does switch, so it will bring whatever down to half. But I don't think it's the best way of gaining something here. I should just go for a U-turn, go out into my Great Tusk, and just start playing accordingly, because I can knock off an item pretty freely. So yeah, he knocks off my Citrus Berry, which immediately means that Mousehold's longevity in this battle is very little. It can still do a job from where we're at the moment, but I need to be a bit more careful, because this is my best way of stopping Miss Magius from doing what it wants.
Yeah, I'm just going to Encore. He's not really going to be doing too
Encore,
much.
I think, is a fine play after I made the wrong play, I guess, the first turn. Encore means that if he does try to get his rocks up here, he's not going to get it. If he does try to Gigaton Hammer for more damage, he's not going to be able to get that either. So him switching is fine. Like, it does still outspeed everything for the most part, and I have switch-ins to Cinderace, I have switch-ins to Lati. I do have switch-ins to this one as well. But I think my play of T-Waving this is probably fine. Like, you don't really bring in a Blastoise like this if it's going to be set up, but just on the off chance that it is, I think it's probably fine. Defensive was definitely better against me in this game, but getting a T-Wave off on any Mon is always going to be valuable, because we could potentially have 3 turns. It will also be slower, so I don't know, Braviary be able to outspeed. It probably did anyway, but no, in case it didn't, now it definitely does. Super Fang also wouldn't have been a bad play, because this is very clearly if it's defensive mon, it's going to be trying to check Ceruledge, is going to try and check Great Tusk. So Super Fang was also a fine play, but I think T-Wave and Super Fang probably had about equal amount of merit.
Very happily just T-Wave.
Especially because there's a strong chance that he's just going to go for like a flip turn, keep momentum here.
I don't know what he's slow clapping.
If he is,
but
if he is defensive. So now we see the flip turn. That should really make me believe that yes, this is a defensive Blastoise, and I don't need to worry about it. It's honestly set up for my team to an extent. It could be like it could run stuff to prevent that, but I expect it to be flip turn, rapid spin. Probably the ice move makes a lot of sense against my team, and then
gives me a chance to set up early, and then
maybe Earthquake as the last move, just to be able to hit the slowking for some decent damage. Otherwise, it can't hit slowking at all.
Cinderace comes in. Okay.
So this is where things go downhill, and this is where progress and positioning really come in. I think these next few turns, honestly, might be the most telling signs, or probably not the correct English there, but this is definitely a good learning experience for anyone who isn't sure on how progress works, isn't sure on why these plays were so bad, because it looks on paper to be fine, but in the long term, this is what lost me the battle. These few turns realistically were the biggest contributor to me losing this battle. So
definitely
in comes Cinderace, and
to go out in.
Look at my team and look at Pyro Ball. There is no reason to click it, right? Flash Fire, Ceruledge, immune to it. The Raging Bolt and the Slowking resist it. So regardless, the play is always to U-turn. It's always to U-turn. And going into Ceruledge gives me nothing. Even if he does Pyro Ball, then we still take a good chunk of damage. We only resist it, we don't 4 times resist it. Yes, it'll proc the weak armor, but nothing is low enough. Blastoise is at full, Gliscor's at full. How even Lati can probably take one. They can't take a bolter, guys. That's not true. But Cinderace could probably take one at this point as well. So it's gaining me nothing. There is no progress to be made for me going into Ceruledge. The progress that could be made going into Great Tusk is that if he does go for a U-turn, we get that Rocky Helmet chip, which will put it in range of Scold, which later in the game actually does come into play. Like, I could have just OHKO'd Cinderace, or at least made him think about it. So yeah, we gain absolutely nothing here. Literally not a thing. If we had gone Great Tusk on turn 1, then we could have knocked off the Gliscor, we could have knocked off Blastoise, and removed an item and gained some information.
We're going to be at +2.
But, you know, it's not the plays we made. So we played, I think, the next few turns just fine. This is really, like, this gets me nothing. This really doesn't get me anything. He does just U-turn, which is the right play. It's the correct play. We get our weak armor, and
there's a good chance
the +2 speed, which is, you know, it's great. It means we outspeed everything on his team. But we could have a bit of chip off on that Cinderace, barely any damage off on our
switching around. At the same time, not making any progress, but you know,
on our Great Tusk,
at some point,
and we still end up in the same position. Like, the same one probably still comes in, because I can't imagine that he wants to go. He might go into Gliscor to proc his Toxic Orb on the Great Tusk, but then he still switches out. But regardless, we're still in a position where we can knock off. So yeah, Blastoise comes back in, and again, if I want to make progress here, I need to get my Breaker in, or a Breaker in. Both Braviary and Raging Bolt are fantastic against this mon. Both can set up pretty freely unless he is like raw. I think it gets raw in this gen, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, again, we're positioning ourselves to get nothing. And yeah, that's it. It's not ideal. I'm preserving this eject button for the very specific game plan that I had. That was bring Slowking on Latios, to bring in Hisuian Braviary to Terror it, and set up a Calm Mind. There is nothing that stops me from doing that on this turn. Literally nothing. It's a paralyzed Blastoise, for fuck's sake. Like, why am I not going into my Slowking to gain the momentum back? Especially because if he flip turns here, guess what? I lose momentum all over again. So yeah, even if he surfs, there's two things I can do. I think there's two plays I can make it. The right one, the best one, is going into slowking, getting the eject button on what will assumably be a surf or a maybe a liquidation or a flip turn. Immediately we just gain like we're not in a bad place at all if we lose our eject button. We are in a bad place if we keep pivoting around this thing and it just continues to get him progress. If I wasn't to do that, then I stay in. I stay in and click Swords Dance. I get my Citrus Berry probably off of a flip turn. It shouldn't kill me. We are like max HP, a little bit defensive. Surf shouldn't kill me. Liquidation probably would, but there's also a chance of para. So we had options. We had options at least, but at least we've been at +2, and we could have then maybe started making some progress. We've been able to maybe break through this Blastoise, break through the Gliscor, something along those lines, but we did none of the above. We decided
Hack this early.
to go into
So I think
Mousehold.
just going into Mousehold might be better for now, because Mousehold's starting to get to a range of HP where it's not going to be much use for anything anyway.
Yeah, that reasoning
And
is
you get
terrible.
anything other than
That
flip
reasoning
turn
is
there.
terrible. Like it would make
Then
sense if it was
the
later into the
Super
game,
whatever comes in, or we can Super
but
Fan
it's
this.
still above 50. It still is my Shadow Ball switch in, and I'm now just allowing it to get chipped. I don't think it even takes a Dazzling Gleam from Terra Fairy at this point,
That's for sure.
whilst it would have before
Well, I
that.
think this time if Cinderace
So,
comes in, I'd probably
yeah.
go into Great Tusk to
Not ideal.
damage off from
Not
Cinderace
ideal
and
at all.
actually get somewhere.
But
Be Pyro Balls, then that's
again,
like
this is just
a
all
crazy
positioning,
play.
all poor positioning that led
I guess it's
from
probably going to do more damage.
turn 1, firstly,
Well,
and
no,
also
we can
from
do
that
turn
switch
one.
into
Yeah, it's
Sarah
not
Edge.
Great Tusk. I think Willow would be
Going
an
into Great
absolute
Tusk
ridiculous
now,
move to make
when he
that
knows he
on
can
the
click
switch.
Pyro Ball,
I wouldn't be surprised
also
if
isn't a
Great
play
Tusk
because we
was
take
to,
more damage. He's not going to U-turn.
chunk down my
He's 100% going
Great
to
Tusk a
go
little
for
bit.
like a Pyro
Well,
Ball.
he's
He might
played
even go
Latios
for like a
and,
gunk shot if he's got it, or a high jump kick.
Maybe that's his winning position this week.
Because I mean, he
Because
probably
he's
not go
not
for a high
set up
jump
on,
kick with Sarah Edge was my
Blastoise.
switch in last time. But
And Bismagus is fantastic in
regardless,
it's gonna cause
he's
pressure, but,
going to not use
he's
it
just gonna Pyro
because he
Balls.
doesn't have a reason to.
Good play.
So yeah, Pyro comes off. We're lucky to not get burned. And
as much of-
this might be the worst play that I've made it for quite some time. I've made some bad plays recently, but this is up there. There is nothing to fear. He's not staying in and letting his Cinderace go down to a headlong rush. He has a Blastoise, he has a Gliscor. What reason does he ever have to make that play? So my way of making progress is to click knockoff. If Gliscor comes in, no Toxic Orb. If Blastoise comes in, whatever item it may be, if it's Rocky Helmet, if it's like Heavy Duty Boots, item's gone, helps out with late
I
game.
want the headlong rush.
I don't make either of
feel
those
like it
plays,
was
and I do
not-
not know why. I do not know how I
Second
managed to
Pyro
come to the
definitely
conclusion
problematic.
that this was a
I
bad
don't
situation
think I
for
want
me.
that damage right now.
I genuinely
So,
don't.
maybe
Like,
Sarah
sure, if you Pyro Balls again,
I should have just gone Sarah
and I
Edge
knock
last
off,
time. I'll be in a better place.
it's not ideal, but it's
It
not
is what it is.
the worst
If Pyro Balls
situation
again,
either.
It will put me in.
So I don't know. I'm thinking too much. Like, I'm trying to play 5D chess when there is absolutely no reason to play
Into-
5D
yeah.
chess. I'm still on a 3D board. So he goes out into the Gliscor.
I wanted to knock so bad.
If I just knocked off, then this Gliscor becomes so much less useful. And my switch into Cerulege doesn't get me anything anyway. Where's the progress? What can I do after that situation occurs that if he does click the U-turn, I'm in a worse spot again? If he clicks Pyro Ball, I don't think that brings me down to my Citrus, so he just pivots out into the Blastoise again, and hey, would you look at that, we've made absolutely no progress. We're in fact at lower health, probably can't take the Flip Turn, can't take the Surf. So, Cerulege makes no sense. Staying in and clicking Knockoff made all the sense, and I don't know why, I just didn't click it. I was not locked in.
I think it's about
So,
time that we start doing
With
some
this,
damage.
I start getting frustrated
Since we're
myself.
not on -1 this time, we will take the
I
Earthquake.
start getting
You just
very
toxic.
frustrated with myself. And Toxic was the right play. Because if I went into Grey Tusk, he was in a good spot against that. And if I click SD like I do here,
I guess I'll take that.
like because I'm a +2, or because I'm not a +2 speed, there's nothing I can do here. He's never going to proc my weak armor. If he plays this one properly, he never procs my weak armor, and I don't get anywhere. So even like in this situation, I should have switched probably, but I just got antsy. I was aware that I was getting every play wrong, and I just wanted to make an aggressive play. that was not the aggressive play to make. So yeah, back to square one. And I'm going to click Bitterblade, and he reveals that firstly he's already faster, so
Bitterblade
makes sense. I didn't have much speed investment.
To his entire team outside of like.
And if he goes for a protect here, I get nothing. If he goes for sub, which he does, I get toxic and say really jacked. But this is a good set. This is a good set against my team. So
have I just knocked off on that turn before?
It makes a lot of sense. I'm actually going to speed this up a little bit. I'm going to do 1.5. I think that's going to be more beneficial because I am taking my time over this anyway and pausing when I need to. So let's just make these turns go a bit quicker. And now we're switching to Bowsoul because I'm like, if he subs, then I can encore it, which is fine. This is the right play because he should be subbing. He should be wasting my turns and getting me into range, or at least killing me with toxic, and never letting me get that kill. So yeah, I should always encore here anyway, because earlier in the game when I encored the Blastoise, I was in a situation where I could click T-Wave or I could click Super Fang. This time round, if I encore him and he switches into Blastoise, unfortunate, by all means, but I can Super Fang it the next turn. I don't think I was necessarily in the wrong with this play, because I shown encore, but speaking to Jack afterwards, it didn't even cross his mind that I could encore him into a sub and just keep him locked into it over and over. So I should have just made the play that was going to be best for me, and if he did stay in, then I Super Fang afterwards, break his sub, I Super Fang. That's if he even stays in. And if he doesn't, then he's set up the sub, and he's going to be at less health. So in the end, he stays in, and I Super Fang the sub, which does break it. Fortunately, I do land it. If I hadn't landed it, then this play would be absolutely horrific. And shout out to Mousehold, living on 1. Mousehold is my favourite tank in the game. Expertly EV'd. And we use Super Fang as he just takes it down. So this trade-off is not the worst, but now we've lost our Mousehold. We've lost our one Shadow Ball switch in, and I go into Great Tusk. This is probably fine. He has to be aware of the Ice Spinner, which is what I say here.
Because what else comes in last?
So there's a couple of things I could do. I think knocking off is the right play. Because he probably goes into Blastoise, and then he does end up going into the Blastoise on his knockoff. Because of this situation where I don't believe that he's going to want to stay in and potentially risk the Ice Spinner. So yeah, knockoff.
And getting any kind of chip on Blastoise.
This is fine. This is one of the few plays so far that I'm actually in agreement with.
No,
so
okay, finally getting somewhere. Do I want to just go?
I could just go Raging Bolt, but again,
not a great deal.
I don't have any reason to not go into the Slowking. I'm just taking chip on everything else. Because I refuse to go into the Slowking to have its eject button procced, I'm losing health on so many mons. I've lost my Mousehold to it, I've taken damage and been toxic on my Ceruledge, and also I have taken a good chunk on my Great Tusk. All this has stemmed from me not going into Slowking and then bringing in a Breaker to at least pressure Jack. There has been zero pressure on him so far. And again, his play here is to sub. He's Scout. This is my Terra Captain. I could Terra into a Steel type, I could Terra into a Flying type. Fortunately, we land this Hurricane, but like again, this play of Terrain gets us no progress. We go out into Great Tusk that now is in range of being 3-hit KO'd by Earthquake, and I click this Ice Spinner far too fast. Like, I know that I didn't click it on the last turn, but if I had been thinking ahead, maybe I would have gone for something different, but I guess Ice Spinner is fine. If he did think, oh yeah, he doesn't have it because he didn't go for it last time, like my explanation here is valid, but I don't know, my positioning already is so bad that I'm forcing myself into making this more aggressive play. I guess not even, I'm making a straightforward play, but it's an aggressive play in that I'm clicking Ice Spinner into a potential Blastoise.
Did precisely 0 damage. I think as much as I want to use this for Lati,
and finally it clocks. Like, it takes me so many turns to finally clock the fact that I need to go ahead and break, and I need to bring in Slowking to allow that to happen. And he gets paralysed on his turn. So I could have stayed in and headlong rushed, but that was never the play anyway. Like, he would have just killed me. So yeah, this was the right play. it was just made way too late. Way too late.
Also not the end of the world.
So, yeah, now we're in a bad position with the rest of our team.
Honestly, should have done that so much.
We finally make the right play.
I've been preserving the fucking eject button. But it is what it is. I'm just going to
go. But one right play
the switch in
needs to be followed up by a bad play, right? That's just how it is. That's how this game has been for me. How my brain has not reacted.
The score is worse for me, I think.
Reacted well to every play.
Tinkerton.
I should calm mind here. If he is Ice Beam, if he's Ice Spinner, it's not going to do a lot. I'm a fucking Raging Roger. Raging Roger does not give a shit about your super effective moves if they're not stab. In fact, he doesn't really care about super effective moves, even if it is stab. And if I'm going to click Dragon Pulse, and I'm worried about the Tinkerton coming, or Tinkerton comes in, I'm in the same position, or near enough the same position if I go for Calm Mind. In fact, if he goes into Tinkerton and I Calm Mind and he doesn't have Encore, I'm in a really good spot, because what can he do to me? Play Rough, that's going to do very little. Discharge is then a 2-hit KO. Dragon Pulsing gains me nothing unless he goes into Gliscor, but if he goes into Gliscor, Calm Mind still nets me something, because then I can Dragon Pulse turn after.
There's no way that
so yeah, this is... Calm Mind would put me in a really good spot. Now I've not got the Calm Mind up, I'm not actually able to break well enough.
And if he now decides to go into Gliscor, that's just a fantastic read.
And yeah, I mean, I'm talking his turns out. He doesn't even go for it. He does just set up rocks, which is very annoying for my Sarah-Ledge, especially because it's toxic. It's annoying for my Braviary. Actually, it's not too annoying for my Braviary because it's Terra Steel. So ignore that. But it does mean that I'm definitely in range of 2 Earthquakes now on my Great Tusk from the Gliscor. And yeah, finally, after all this bad positioning, all of this, I finally get a kill. And it's on a Tinkerton that honestly was pretty bad into my team outside of its utility. So yeah, in comes the Gliscor, and this at this point, yes, Dragon Pulsing is almost definitely the play. But imagine this, but I was at +1.
If he is
just for a second, imagine this, but at +1.
I'm going for it anyway.
Because
this shouldn't kill me.
I would force him,
that's insane.
Or almost definitely force him into
just barely missing out.
Going into something else.
It's pretty safe to assume he'll go for it again, but
here we are.
Actually one of the most,
that did 198 damage. 198 damage. I can do maths, I promise. So it does look like a roll and a dirty one at that. So I think this is the right thing to not want to take it. Here I should pivot through Slowking.
Is Toxicking?
I don't think I do.
That bad?
Actually, no. I think I might do it on this turn.
I think he does just go for an EQ. But I'm thinking about the turn after.
But I should pivot through Slowking because it will regen any health against Toxic. We're still in a position where we can come back in and do something else. You know, I don't think he wants to stay in on Slowking firstly. So again, we put ourselves in the position where we're going to get 2-hit KO'd by this Earthquake, and we have to rely on him overthinking his plays. And again, Blastoise is a safe switch. Rapid Spin is the right play. Here is just the right play. Get rid of the rocks for Sarah-Ledge. Get rid of the rocks for everything else in my team. If he kills me, rocks stay up. But he does switch. It did look like a roll for whether or not Earthquake was going to kill, so it makes sense that he goes out into Blastoise. And here, what is my Great Tusk doing? I gotta look at the game state at this point and think, okay, I'm a +1 speed. Unless he's Choice Scarf on his Latios, we should outspeed that. We are EV to outspeed it. Cinderace, again, shouldn't outspeed us at +1. And it shouldn't be his first response to this anyway. If he goes into Gliscor, we outspeed it, we Ice Spinner. If he gets fully powered on this turn, 2 Headlong Rushes will kill this one. So my play is to bank on Hacks, essentially. Hacks is a win con, but it gives me so much more positioning. Again, Blastoise has had so many free turns in this game, and I've just allowed it to have so many free turns. This is, again, another turn. I'm discussing Headlong Rushing, and I don't go for it. Headlong Rush is the play. Great Tusk can't switch in on anything anymore, it's a sack. And letting it die here lets me bring in my Raging Bolt once again and get a kill. Because nothing switches into Raging Bolt at this point.
And if he flip turns, he flip turns.
So, yeah, all in all, and he gets the full power on his turn as well. So if I Headlong Rushed, I was actually in a fantastic spot to be able to do work with Great Tusk.
I have not clicked the button.
it would have
and ended up
forced him to take damage on something. And that would have just been... That's all I really needed. I need to keep forcing damage. I'm not forcing any damage on this. I'm not forcing any progress. I'm literally just constantly banging my head against a Blastoise-sized brick wall.
We definitely take these.
And yeah, there's the Scold that if I got the Rocky Helmet chip earlier, would have killed. So, man, I'm getting myself wound up just watching this. Like, you can tell how frustrated, just in the live com, you could tell how frustrated I was getting. Again, probably should have gone into Great Tusk. I don't know why he U-turned necessarily. He could have just Pyro Balled, but
it actually does kill me here.
Actually, no, he made the right play in U-turning because there was a fucking slowking in. I should have been aware of that and gone into my Great Tusk. That was the opportunity to go into Great Tusk. So.
I can just get back into slowking.
It's painful watching this back because I know I don't lock in. I don't lock in until it's too late. And
he isn't gonna get powered.
Yeah, again, another free turn for Blastoise. Who'd have fucking thought? I should have just clicked Swords Dance on that turn because, again, like, where's the downside to clicking Swords Dance on that? If he goes for the flip turn, he gives me the weak armor. In fact, that's the positioning. That's the exact positioning that I wanted to be in. Albeit I'm toxic. That's the exact position I want to be in. I still got my Citrus Berry. I still can disable the Ceruledge. And if he goes for the flip turn, we get our weak armor, we get the Citrus, we get the +2 of Swords Dance. And again, we're forcing progress. We don't force any progress here. We're literally just letting Blastoise stay in for free. And now he gets to do what he wants. And I should... I face sub Nasty Plot in mocks. All he needed was Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam, Terra Fairy to be able to break my team. I should have known this. Again, I just make the wrong play. I make the wrong play again. Because the only way I lose this mon is if he subs. If I scold it and he just goes for Shadow Ball, okay. But now, I mean, I don't know why I'm saying I'm counter-teamed. Like, he literally bought the set that I faced in mocks and it's worked for him. And now I should scold again, because I can't have this thing behind a sub. But I don't. I change the reception. And now something else is going to have to take this massive amount of damage.
Too many options.
Like, it's just, it's bad play after bad play after bad play. It's so frustrating to watch for me, because I know I can play better than this. Heat waving is fine. At this point, I'm positioned that I can't do shit all. I've got to break this sub and then hope for the best.
Excellent news.
So, yeah. I'm gonna let this play out for a bit because I need a drink. I'm venting too much. Call me a Cersei Barker because I'm venting.
So that's on me. Just trying to think if there's any other way around this. If I switch any subs, then that's gonna be just a game regardless. I should have scolded him on that first turn. Letting him have the sub was stupid.
Yep, there we go. I've figured it out. This is literally the turn in which I lock in and understand the game plan and how I fucked up. Like, literally, this was like something clicked in my mind. I was like, okay, I've lost this game now. So it's time to lock in. It's time to lock in when it could potentially be a 5-0. It should probably be a 5-0. It depends really on how Jack plays out this endgame. And Jack should play out this endgame in a way that gives him the win no matter what. But like, I don't think there's any way of him throwing at this point. So yeah, T-Wave it is the right play. Because I'm going to lose regardless, right? And if I T-Wave, it gives me a chance to actually pull this game back. It's going to be extremely tough, because I do need to sack another one to this Magius. The Slowking looks great. If I can get rid of the Cinderace, if I don't get toxic before I deal with the Latios, then there's a good chance the Slowking as a defensive win con here could do the job. As much as I'm a low HP, Regenerator is a stupid ability, it's incredibly broken, and I can just keep switching in and out and get Slowking back up to full, even without a slack off. Though slack off would have been absolutely insane in this match, in the end. Look at that, Great Tusk gets sacked off for no reason. I could have sacked off Great Tusk for actual progress, right?
I'm going to just go for Poltergeist. I think, yeah, he's going to Blastoise. I could have Bitterbladed. Should have Bitterbladed.
Like, okay.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Bitterblade was the right play. I don't think it made a difference. It's a Blastoise, physically defensive Blastoise. I haven't got the investment to 2-hit KO without an SD, so sure, whatever. Poltergeist in case he stays in. Play off his throw. I do have to switch into this mon. Again, Blastoise. Hey, would you look at that? It's got a free turn. fuck me, I'm bad against his
The
Blastoise.
conditions of me winning this are
Like,
just so
the
slim.
Gliscor was something that I
But there is
was
a chance. Okay,
talking
yes,
about
Para
as if
as
it
well,
was a
which
real
definitely
problem
will,
for my
because I
team.
can just chili
I
out.
get a lucky Para here, which means that I can just chili
Finally getting some
and
slow
not give him
momentum,
the
guys.
momentum
That
that he
took, like,
needs
30
because
turns.
he just gets everything.
If I can get slow
Like I
momentum
say,
with
that
health, it actually might be
first
able to win
turn
this
in
game.
which I actually get some kind of progress. So yeah, man, it is frustrating to watch back, and I hope this hasn't been too much venting, and there has actually been some kind of educational purposes, some kind of reviewing that
Just
goes
outside
on.
of our citrus.
But
if he's sucker, then I disable.
this is a prime example of how an early game can fuck up
sucker.
your late game, and this is the situation I wanted Ceruledge to be in, without
regardless,
being
I'm still
toxic,
slower
without the
than
citrus
Latin,
being
but I
procced.
do have a switch. So I won't do that.
If I had been in a
that's
situation where
also
I
getting
wasn't
pretty much
toxic
shipped
tier, there was again a chance. I think there's actually a chance that this
and if he
just won.
switches, I know for sure that
Because
he's covered
Earthquake
my
wouldn't have
team.
knocked
He's really
me
down.
out after
Right, so no more of that
blocking the
stuff.
citrus. I don't know. There's a lot of what
And now
ifs
I
I
just
think
start-
at this point,
so I just
and it's
start
hard to Theorymon
Blastoise should be 2
a
KO
game
by
in
means at
which
this
I
point.
am currently like
Gliscor going
3v4
down
and he's in
amazing.
such a dominant position, like such a
I think it was a
dominant
decent
position.
amount back as well. I know the Toxic's going to start racking up.
We do eventually pick off this Blastoise. If I had done this like 20 turns ago, look at how much better
Did a lot,
position I would have
actually.
been in.
But
I should have
I will
abused
take
this
my kill.
Blastoise as setup fodder, and instead I let Blastoise be the catalyst to my downfall.
and we'll see how much I've got left. again.
it's
Probably
it's
not
so annoying. Like when I was editing this, I was
if I
like,
can
why
get
the
rid
fuck
of
did I just
Cinderace at this
Blastoise
point,
do everything?
that would be
Blastoise just click flip turn over and over, and I just let it happen. So yeah, in comes
there's anything I can do to
the
prevent that. But I'm just
Gliscor.
looking
I
afterwards
have to let
and
this mon go down at this point. I
do my
don't
thing with
think
Skull.
there's any reason to keep this alive.
I think that's the play I've got to make.
Because
I've got to,
again,
unfortunately, save it, 'cause I can't take damage on
Slowking
any
is my
Toxic.
win con at this
I've already
point.
had to sack off half my
It's
team
the
for
only
the
thing
players.
that can really take
So-
on the rest of his team. Annoyingly, he is going to get the poison heal,
Gotta be Slowking.
but it does mean that
Like,
Slowking
Slowking
comes
and
in
Skull,
and
'cause
can
again,
click
he doesn't
Skull.
really switch
So
into it
there
at
is no Skull
all. And he really
switching.
don't want to take that roll
I
on
guess
Raging
actually no,
Bolt,
Avalanche
just in
would have
case he does get a
absolutely
roll
been the
first
play here. Hang on, hold the fuck.
That's gonna be a
Hold the
okay.
fuck up. I think Avalanche, but Avalanche
thing
killed
that
from
would
that
really kill me.
range, who knows, but at the same time,
If you go into Lati,
it should have taken
don't
Rocky
go into
Helmet
this
Chip at that point. It shouldn't have been alive.
this does
So,
around half of his shadow
yeah,
balls here.
early game
Gonna
positioning,
chili-
who'd have fucking
Yeah,
fun?
that was the best case scenario for me. So he just gets fully powered.
Yeah,
If
he gets
shadow
fully
balls,
powered,
like
that's a
40%,
fantastic power for
and
me.
get out. If he subs, that would be like worse.
Because I
for
can
me.
now come back in at full health. In
Another
comes
thing
Raging
is,
Roger,
do you take
and
do you take this hit?
again, I misplay.
if he Terra Fairies? If he's
I
green,
say
no,
this in my
Frank says
commentary.
yes.
If I Terra
I
Fairy,
don't have my booster.
then
Fairy
if I Terra Fairy, or if he
that's
Terra
what
Fairy,
he's
sorry,
got.
and Dazzling Gleams,
He's
I
gonna
die,
Terra Fairy.
but I don't at +1. And I don't Calm Mind. If I Calm Mind here, I get
Discharge,
more damage, I
hope for
can
a
pay
para.
off more paras. I actually position
Okay,
myself
Gleam
to be able to
kills
get
me,
damage
not
off
Gleam
on
that he
someone
won't.
else on this team. I need this thing
half his
dead. If
Gleam
this thing is
does
dead,
kill.
I have a chance of Slowking, but here I am.
I guess I could have calm minded there.
Yes, I should have Calm Minded, Jack. Well done. Fucking tilted by
Yeah,
my
Calm
own
Minded.
gameplay. Yeah, so
Calm
this
Minded
basically
was-
gives him then the
it's gonna be
damage that
close,
he needs
at
on
least.
Slowking to be able
He
to
should
confirm this
absolutely
game.
by all means, yeah.
There was parts of this
But I don't
game
think
end game
Avalanche
where I
can do
could
enough.
have actually won. I get the Avalanche off.
I
I
think
will
my
be able
only
to bring us down to a
possibly winning
2-0.
this
There's
game
like no
now
way of
is
him
if
switching
he
into an
powers.
Avalanche that doesn't make it
I
a
think that's
2-0.
the only win con.
So I Avalanche again.
Win con spotted, I guess.
Yeah, Wincon spotted, there's no chance. Like, I don't beat the
Well,
last
Avalanche
two with
would
this
kill.
one. I just don't. Not at this range.
That
I don't
is-
have a switch out. If I had a switch out, maybe
I don't have enough.
I could double Avalanche
longevity
into
probably, so I think
Latios,
we'll
and I
take
could
At the very least, we bring the score down.
Avalanche
We
or
should
Scold
probably
into
not be able to
Gliscor and pick up the win, but
Typhoon comes in,
it's
and
not
I've
going to
got
be
to
the
just
way
do
it
it
ends up.
and
So.
go for Paras. If it's suspected, it doesn't matter anyway.
Maybe a super
Barely fucking
crit
well, you don't win the game.
Avalanche
There's
was
nothing you know
a
about
potential way of getting the differential down, but I think I'm just
If I had,
preying
like,
on his
maybe 2 more
downfall
switches,
with Paras.
I'd probably been fine.
And
I don't
I
have
think
enough
I need
damage
at least
to
like
just
3 to be able to
And
kill
that's
with
gonna be a
Avalanche,
game.
so it's never going to
Yeah, he
happen.
played that really well. I can't forget this game.
But yeah,
He
that's
read
going to
every
be
point that I
our
made.
week 1, and I was really frustrated myself. I came out of this one feeling really dejected, and it certainly gave me some food for thought. Immediately I was like, I need to make transactions. I can't lose to ghost types immediately, but then I took a second and I thought about it. I was like, ghost types with Fairy Terror is a problem. It's ghost types with Fairy coverage is a problem. But at the same time, I do have pieces to be able to deal with that. I just didn't play them well. And I didn't use any of my... I didn't use Great Tusk well in this game. I didn't use Raging Bolt well in this game. I didn't use Ceruledge well until it was already too late. Slowking, is a slowking. It was a fat piece of shit. It did exactly what it needed to do. Late game, it should have come in like 20 turns earlier to give me momentum, to give me progress, even to just give me initiative. Like, there was so much that could have been done if I brought slowking in on Blastoise early. And like I said earlier in this video, it's a prime example of early game absolutely destroying my end game and making my positioning impossible to come back from. Or not impossible, but exceptionally difficult, because I lost my ghost check. I lost so much health on Great Tusk. And yeah, hopefully like people can actually learn from this video to an extent and notice how important like positioning and progress is, especially in this generation where so many things has the ability to break you, so many things have the ability to set up, whether it be like set up stats boost wise or set up hazards, because he could have easily set up hazards with a Gliscor in this game and I would have done nothing about it. So yeah, I think that probably wraps it up. This is a lot of rambling, a lot of venting, but hopefully there's something to take away from this, and I will try and review every game I can this season, because I definitely think there's a lot to learn from watching back your games, and it's how you improve as a player, and also how you get to learn with your team. If you don't watch your games back and you don't understand your team properly, that's on you for not going back and actually reviewing what you did wrong, be it in the building process, be it in the actual plays, and whether or not there is actually changes you need to make, or whether it's just a knee-jerk reaction to how your team functions. And I'm guilty for doing this like week one far too many times and making knee-jerk reactions instead of waiting for a few weeks, seeing how the team actually plays out, how it gels, because you know, you draft things for a reason, right? Sometimes you draft things for a reason and the reasoning looks bad after you actually try to build with it, which is what happened in this week. Like, I realized there's a couple of pieces on my team that didn't make much sense, so I made changes and made it so this team is a little bit better, well-rounded, or a little bit more well-rounded and better able to deal with more things over the course of the season. It became like an S rank, I think, draft. It was only second to like Q, and that was because I sat down and I built with my team after the draft finished. I built for the first game of the season, and well, I built for like a couple of games, and I looked at it and went, you know what, I need to make some changes, which is why we picked up Weezing. It's why we picked up Mousehold, and Weezing would have actually been pretty good here, would have been alright. It definitely would have hard-walled his Gliscor set, which is a little bit surprising as to why he brought that exact set, but makes sense. At the same time, if I don't bring Weezing, that set went crazy, and it did. So yeah, that's enough rambling from me. If this is something that you enjoy, if it's something you want to watch in the future, please let me know in the comments, because it's not something I've done before and it's a bit experimental. It's mainly just driven by the fact that I hated how I played week one and wanted to try and vocalize where I went wrong. But I'm going around in circles. Like, if you enjoyed the battle, and enjoyed the analysis of the battle, subscribe so you don't miss out on the rest of the season. Hopefully we can come back stronger and with a win against Drew in week 2. And yeah, till next one, have a great day, guys. Peace.